Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Taylor, and welcome back to the OverAchievers podcast, episode 6, We Three Kings. Joining me today, as ever, is our fan favorite, John.
I'm a fan favorite. Wow, thank you.
I mean, you have been in the most episodes.
I don't know if that makes me a fan favorite, but I'll take your word for it.
We'll say it does.
Okay.
And also joining us today is a very special guest, and actually someone who I work with, my supervisor, Brett.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. First time here, so I'm really excited to do something like this, and thanks for having me on the platform, Taylor.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you in general. I just hope I don't get fired in recording like last time.
Oh, heck no, not even work related.
Yeah, well, so for those who don't know, for you as well, Brett, at my previous job, they had let me go over a phone call on my day off, and it just so happened to be while I was recording with Chris and John, so that at least my end of that phone call is in recording.
Ouch.
And it's just, I mean, I was very professional as I tend to be when you're dealing with any kind of situation like that, but it was just really funny that it happened in recording.
Oh god, yeah, to have that on recording is kind of a funny thing you can always look back on, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, anyway.
That's awesome.
That job is a whole other story. That video will actually be linked in the description down below for both the YouTube video and the podcast if you guys want to watch it. Really funny moment. With that being said, it is episode 6, therefore it is a Dark Souls / Souls-like special, and today we're going to be discussing Elden Ring. Now, John and I have played Elden Ring on Steam, so PC. Brett, and you played Elden Ring on PlayStation 4, correct?
You got it, yep.
Alright, so it may be a little bit of a different perspective in terms of kind of, how things play, how things work, especially with Steam having, I'm going to say, fewer bugs and fewer issues, just because it's on PC.
Oh, I don't know about that.
To see... There's been a lot of issues in general, but I'm curious to see how our answers vary on these questions. So with that, I'm going to start out with question 1. John, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Before you decided to get all achievements, how many characters did you make and were like, this is just my kind of casual explore kind of playthrough?
Well, I think you and I had already done, Dark Souls 3 and 1 all achievements before Elden Ring came out? Is that timing
Yes, we
right?
had.
Yeah. So, I assumed the achievements were always going to be, fairly similar to other Dark Souls achievements. So I was looking at them, pretty early on in my first character.
Okay.
But when I saw, there's 3 different ending achievements, I didn't think too much of it. I thought, you know what, I'll just do my blind casual playthrough, and at the end of it, I'll look back and see if I can go clean up some of those achievements. So, I would say I didn't, properly look into getting all achievements until after my first character, which was 85 hours in-game.
Oof.
Yeah, I took my
right.
time with that first one.
I'll say, yeah. And how about yourself, Brett? How many characters did you make before you decided, hey, I want all these trophies?
Well, the funny thing is I didn't even really make the conscious decision to go for the all achievements. And it happened to be just my first character.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. The thing is, the total playtime on that came out to be 170 hours.
cool.
Oh yeah, I seriously took my time. I looked at every nook and cranny. I mean, obviously we'll speak to it on a further question, but I did no guides. I did it fully blind kind of thing. So
Hell yeah.
It took a while, and I just kind of found that the achievements came to me throughout it. So again, it wasn't fully first playthrough because there was one item I frickin' missed, and
yeah, I know the one.
Was it the okay?
Yeah, I'm sure it's all the same.
We're allowed to spoil things. Was it the spear?
Yes.
Yeah,
Grand
I hate
Sax.
that stupid spear.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sour about that.
Oh man,
because I would have got it first try or first playthrough, and I would have been pretty
That's-
stoked on that. But
that's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm totally the opposite of you guys. I went into it knowing that one day I wanted to get all achievements, and I didn't want anything spoiled for me. So I really rushed. I took my time in the first half and then really rushed the second half of the game. So my first character beat it in 43 hours, but I was missing over half of the achievements. Because I didn't know just how many bosses and stuff there were going to be in this game. I didn't quite grasp the scale of it. So like I said, I powered through it.
Yeah.
So that was a totally different experience for me. Wow.
And I should mention about the saves. I did do the whole cloud save thing. Uploaded the save before, so I could do the multiple endings. So that probably shaved some time off for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. So for those of you who don't know, what Brett's referring to is he uploaded a save state from before he beat the final boss, I'm assuming at least.
Yes.
And then he was able to reload that save state to then beat the final boss and make different decisions to be able to pop the trophies.
Correct. Yeah, I somehow managed to get all the items needed for the endings, and tried it, and it worked, and I was pretty happy.
Interesting. So I'm going to be a minority there then.
Yeah, because I technically did something similar. I did, go through the whole game twice, except on my second character, I copied over my save file, and I'll leave a link to the description for the PC version of just copying a character, just so I could get the second ending, because I'm going to talk about this later, but the requirements to get one of the endings just made me lose my damn mind to the point where I was not willing to do a third playthrough just to do that again, just to get this one ending. Like I said, I will get into that in a little bit, but
weird.
I'm so mad about that.
I'm interested what that is, because none of them seem that bad to me.
Okay, so I do want to clarify something. Brett, how many trophies does it have on PlayStation? Is it 42? Because sometimes the number of achievements on PC versus the number of trophies on console are different.
No, you got it. It is 42.
Okay. So yeah, so just to clarify, we have all gone for the same trophies, same number of trophies, no discrepancies there. Do you know, so we obviously know for you, Brett, how long it took you to get all achievements, about 170 hours.
Mm-hmm.
John, how long did it take you between, all of your different characters?
So I added up my 3 characters. So my first casual character was 85 hours. Second character was 42 hours, and the one after that was also 42 hours. So altogether, also 170 hours.
Oh, wow, look at
that.
Yeah. Very
now,
cool.
Did you use a guide for that?
I think in my first casual character, because it was a mage character, like I'd heard a bit about like a certain quest line, Ronnie's quest line, that would be quite thematic for my character to do. So I looked up a guide on how to finish that one. So that's like the ending I went for on my casual playthrough. Probably would not have figured it all out without a guide. And then on the second character, I used a guide to find all the items and stuff that I needed to get all the achievements. And then I think third character, I just went back to not using guides because I remembered how to do it now.
So I'm going to be in the minority here again because I looked up guides and followed things through on like my second character because I wanted to. Again, I don't know why I had this urge to like rush all achievements. I don't think I should have approached it that way. But I had 40 hours on my first character to the casual one, and then I had 46 hours to finish off the rest of them.
Okay, so 86 altogether.
86 hours.
But
I don't know. To me, like, I enjoyed the journey, but it wasn't the same as I don't think I took the same pleasure in it that you guys did.
I mean, you had fun though in the end, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's a fantastic game, but like, I don't know, I was so achievement hungry, and I don't know why. Like, I genuinely could not tell you why I decided that, hey, I need all achievements for this game, like, right now.
Like, right away.
Yeah, I regret how quickly I went for it, because there was no need to move that fast for them, and I should have just taken my time a little more, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, you compare it to, like, Dark Souls 3, like, we started playing that in, 2016 or something, and didn't do all achievements until the end of 2021, really.
Yeah.
And then Elden Ring, it was like, bam, like a week later, going for all achievements.
Yeah, no. Like, okay, so for example, I have 130 hours total in Elden Ring. And Dark Souls, and obviously Elden Ring came out this year. Dark Souls 3, which came out in 2016, I have 225 hours, so it's not quite double, but I've put in almost half of that time in a few months.
Wow.
Man, I have more hours in Elden Ring than you do Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, I think I'm at more in Elden Ring as well.
How many hours do you have in Elden Ring, Brett?
I'm at about 415.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, I burn out on games a lot faster. Like, and I've explained this to John. For me, getting all achievements is like my final farewell to a game. I don't plan on coming back to it after that point. And that's kind of why I regret going for all of these achievements so quickly, because I don't feel like giving up on Elden Ring right now, but I kind of burned myself out in a short period of time, just a little bit.
I found the achievements were like a nice thing that almost just came as a bonus for me per se. The reason why I think I'm 415 hours in and still going and don't really want to stop kind of thing is just always trying to find more. There's always something you could find or try and find before someone else now at this point, and it's just like waiting for the new update or DLC news or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
Always
agree.
hungry for more.
I'm on my 6th character right now, and just yesterday I found an item and area that I'd never found before. I couldn't believe there was still stuff I could discover in this game.
Did it have to do with an elevator?
No, it was a fiery shield in a little bit of Volcano Manor, surrounded by pots,
wow,
and
okay.
I'd never found it before.
Yeah, because I was in the same boat yesterday. I found a new area in one of the elevators to the Forbidden Lands or whatever.
Oh, really?
A secret room in there, and you can get Melena's weapon, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, the big elevator going down.
Yeah.
You roll off partway through.
You got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, found that. So again, just those little things that keep you going and wanting more. And
man, I really am a third wheeler here. The last time I played was with you and John, you and Chris like 25 days ago, and I didn't discover anything new. And I feel like I should just kind of walk away right now, just like you guys. The rest of the podcast.
No, we need your perspective too.
Someone who's not the guy who just ran, the guy who ran through everything.
Yeah, who's not like diehard like us.
Okay, so John, we know you have 6 characters. Brett, how many characters have you made in total?
I have a total of 4.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. I also have a total of 6, including my co-op playthrough character that we're doing right now, John.
Yeah, he's
So,
my.
yeah.
I don't know. I made him this. That was the 2nd character I made, and I've like finished like 3 playthroughs since then.
Oh my god.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into some of the other questions I have on the script, this is one that I wanted to ask you guys. Now that we've had another addition to the, I guess, mainline Soulsborne family from Software themselves, what do you think is the hardest Soulsborne game, Elden Ring included? And why?
Hardest, eh? Is it
hardest?
Obviously, just a personal opinion.
Yeah, just personal opinion. Whoever wants to go first, just, kind of start going. I'm curious what you have to say.
I can go first.
You go ahead, John. Yeah, you go ahead.
This is the problem when you get Canadians on a podcast.
For me, it's got to be Bloodborne. Only played that once, but it was a real struggle for me to get through, just because playing it did physically make me ill from the frame rate and various settings they had enabled. But even like that aside, like I felt there was very little build variety in that compared to Dark Souls 1 to 3. So I felt like that one I struggled with a lot more. And maybe I would find it easier if it comes to PC and I can just do a few more playthroughs of it. But yeah, that one, Bloodborne, is the hardest one for me.
Huh. And what about you, Brett?
It might sound weird, but it's Dark Souls, the original.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah, and I think it's partially just due to I got it at release. I bought it on a whim, didn't know what the hell I was buying. Just looked at the back of the case per se and was like, oh, this looks kind of fun. Tried it for like a couple hours, was so fed up with it and frustrated, didn't know what the heck to do, put it away. And then I just kind of got back into it and went and find out a little bit more and more, and I got further and further. But at that point, there was less of like a community around it. There was less like, there was no guides really on the YouTube or whatever at that point, and I wasn't really looking for them either. But again, I think just so much of it was unknown. The mechanics were so new to me. It was just like overwhelming to a point where it almost got frustrating, but was the right amount of frustration to keep me going and just totally change games for me.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm totally different from you guys because I personally think that Elden Ring is the hardest only because it has 3D platforming with actual jumping mechanics and no grappling hook like Sekiro to save you.
Outside of the boss fights, you think that makes it harder?
Yeah, I like the 3D platforming is absolute garbage. Any 3D platformer is garbage because especially when it's not, made by a company that traditionally does platformers. And this relates to what I was talking about earlier with the whole ending thing. Getting down the stupid gravestones to get the frenzied flame ending literally took me longer than Melania did.
That's fair. Yeah, that is horrible.
Like that is why I absolutely hate that ending, because I died. I don't know. I don't want to think about how many times just trying to get down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. You know the old Dark Souls platforming, but the one thing I'll say is at least there's the jump button as opposed to the other games where you're trying to do the stupid click and run or something.
Yeah,
on
I almost think that's better because then it's like you can blame the game because like, oh, I didn't jump at the right time, or oh, I fell off, and like it's designed for you just to fall. It's not designed for you to actually jump at a specific time in a proper arc. Which puts the onus more on me, in my opinion. You know, I can't blame the game as much because, like, no, it gave me a jump button, not one that I have to, like you said, use two separate inputs for. I can just press A or X and just jump. But then, nope, I still screwed up. I still die.
I think I would blame the game for that because I do think like that platforming in there is just horribly designed and like all the platforms are too narrow in there. So
they absolutely are.
Yeah, I would blame the game on your horrible experience with that.
But I just think also like the amount of platforming in general is so exponentially larger in Elden Ring than the others for obvious reasons.
Yes. You have like the deep root depths, you have those gravestones spread out everywhere.
Yeah. It's just like there's pockets of it in the other Souls games, but then this is just like you could go anywhere and you've got a jumping puzzle, and I hate it sometimes.
I don't know. I compare like anything in Elden Ring to like trying to navigate down the Great Hollow in Dark Souls 1, and I would take anything in Elden Ring over that.
Yeah, especially because it's riddled with basilisks.
Yeah.
I think just the sheer amount of them in Elden Ring, and I get you get the double jump with your steed and everything, but like it almost makes it more frustrating. You have more tools at your disposal, and I'm still screwing up.
That's fair.
Like it's telling me how bad I am.
Yeah, I don't even bother with Torrent most of the time. I think that the double jump ends up killing you half the time or whatever. It seems like your health pool drops when you're on him.
And it's so hard to steer that horse sometimes, especially when you're sprinting.
Yeah. Oh, it can be rough. And the combat's just not the greatest on Torrent. Like,
Have you seen speedruns of Elden Ring?
No.
God, they platform like on Torrent up trees and stuff. Like I can barely like platform down trees, but they like scale entire walls and cliffs on Torrent. It's incredible.
Oh man.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, not for me, thanks. Okay, so going back to actual achievements / trophies here. John, we'll start with you again. What were the hardest and easiest achievements for you throughout this whole thing?
Nothing was really hard, honestly.
What?
Most of these achievements were like decently easy. I think I would put Legendary Ashen Remains as the hardest one.
Okay.
Not because for that one you have to gather all the legendary spirit ashes, and none of them are like that missable. But you do have to fight Black Knife Tish, who is like arguably unbeatable on certain builds.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that one is a real pain. I think whatever I did it on my mage. And there's like a magic cheese you can do against Tish. So I didn't struggle with it, but like if you're like pure melee, man, Tish is a really hard fight.
Yeah, I did her on mage as well, and I got her stuck in a corner and just was casting spells from on top of a rock.
It's quite satisfying.
Very nice.
What build did you use for Tish, Brett? Do you remember?
It was on my first character, obviously, but it was some form of an Uchi, I think, at that point.
Oh, okay.
But again, it probably would have had a Hoarfrost Stomp on it, something with a little bit of a range.
Oh, yeah.
But the Frost and Bleed, I mean, once you mix those together...
that is strong.
It's insane.
All right, and so what was the easiest achievement for you then, John?
Easiest, I know you don't like doing like the unskippable or unmissable achievements, but I always like putting those in my answers. So easiest.
Guests are allowed to do whatever they want, man.
Yeah, so easiest for me was just Round Table Hold because it's unmissable. It like you get warped there after you rest at like 4 bonfires or something like that. So it's pretty much the first one you'll ever get every time.
All right, and how about yourself, Brett? What did you find was the absolute hardest one?
Hardest one was, and it took a while, it's boss related, was Estelle.
Really?
Yes. Remember how long I complained about the space dragonfly to
Oh,
you?
yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, it was rough. I mean, I put it into perspective. I beat Radon first try. This guy I had
What?
probably like, not even joking, like 30, 40 tries maybe.
Oh, man.
So when I beat him, it was quite satisfying. But definitely, I think that one was the hardest.
Yeah, he for I don't know. I found him a way easier than Radon.
I was just caught off guard by like the whole design of him, and like, you
Yeah,
walk
that's
in
fair.
the
I hate
distance
his-
in the arena, and
I hate his grab attack. His grab attack is garbage.
Yeah.
yes,
Fighting Estelle with range and magic, decently easy. Fighting up close, so hard.
Yeah, because I first fought him in melee, and
Yeah.
that was a rough fight.
yeah, not fun. I think what
Okay,
made
so-
it easier for me was when I finally got the weapon, the Wing of Estelle, and went back. And that was
that's a great sword.
It is, yeah.
So what do you think was the easiest one for you?
Again, easiest. I kind of agree with John on that one. I had round table hold written there, but I did write a backup kind of thing. It's just any of the essential bosses that you have to fight that you had an easy time with per se.
Okay.
Even I think Morgott, the first guy, I didn't really have an issue with him. It was like, I think my second try, and okay, first boss battle, here we go, kind of thing. And then like it's on that path of your first playthrough, you're kind of following what looks like the clear path of progression, and so it was just the first boss that I found easy per se.
Actually,
that's fair.
a question about him. Did you go for him very early?
Yeah, I kind of stuck to like the first area there. I didn't go to the south area. I can't remember the name of that.
Weeping Peninsula.
Correct. No, I didn't do any of that. I kind of stuck to like the Limgrave area, and then I went in there by accident and triggered the fight. And then I was like,
Interesting.
okay, I'm just gonna stick with it. And again, it was like maybe second try, but I did use summons.
Yeah.
Whoever's at the front there, I forget.
Roger.
That's it. Yes.
My boy.
Yes. Yep.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. See, and mine again, totally different from you guys. Personally, I don't like to go for freebie achievements, but I don't like to limit what a guest can go for, so they can take whatever. For me, I want to say one of the easiest ones that I had was the Mimic tier.
That's
just
fair.
because, you can obviously control the difficulty by, just going in completely naked and then just put on your stuff immediately. But B, to me, you had so much more at your disposal by the time you hit Mimic tier, as opposed to Morgott or even, Dragon Arm boy.
Godric.
What's his face? Thank you. Even Godric, like, you have less. Well, you're likely to have a lot less resources at your disposal and a lot less skill at that point. So then, by the time you've already done Radon, you know what you're doing. When you hit Mimic tier, you're just like, what is this? Get out of my face.
Right.
That's
Especially
true.
because if it's a reflection of yourself, you kind of know what to expect, right? Yeah.
That's
And then
funny,
I
yeah.
think-
You go from Radon to Mimic tier as your next boss.
Yeah.
A little
Oh,
underwhelming.
man.
Yeah.
And then I think for me, the hardest one, again, talked about this earlier, Frenzied Flame, for reasons I've already discussed.
Just the platforming basically made it
Yeah,
the hardest
just the
one for you.
platforming is
Okay.
so stupid.
'Cause, yeah,
'Cause like I said, that was harder for me than Melania was.
fair.
It's rough. I mean, it's like a super long extended version of the bell tower in Dark Souls 3 there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other thing is,
Shrine,
like, it doesn't
whatever.
matter what build you have. Like, you with Melania, with any boss, you can control your build to some degree by respecking, just getting some other equipment or getting some buddies in. If I summon people for that platformer section, all they're gonna do is point and laugh at me when I die. Or they're gonna stand on the edge just so I can't make the jump down.
Oh my god.
Like, so again, it's the fact that it has no controllable difficulty in that sense. I can't make it any easier. And I just kept dying over and over and over again, and then this stupid having to run back.
They should sure pick the right music for the area, eh?
Oh god. Anyway, before I get too much into that. Okay, so outside of those previously mentioned achievements, John, what were the most and least fun for you in general?
Most fun achievement, I put the Age of Stars achievement, which is
Okay.
getting the Age of the Stars ending, which is the Ronnie ending. like I said, I did that on my first playthrough, my casual blind mage playthrough, and it was super thematic to that character. I was using like
Yeah.
her was it like Dark Moon sorcery spells.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like finishing her quest line, and it is so like her like the whole quest is so entwined with magic that it was just a very satisfying one for me to do on that character. And like to get that ending, you have to do so many different intertwining quest lines, which I found quite fun.
Nice. All
Yeah,
right, that's fair.
Spanning the whole game too.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I like that.
I felt bad for Blythe in that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough.
I miss Blythe so much.
Yeah.
So okay, what was your least fun then? What did you absolutely hate?
I couldn't put anything for it.
Really?
Yeah, there was no
This is a
unfun achievements
first.
for me in this. Yeah, I had to leave it
Oh.
blank. Couldn't think of an answer.
All
Very
right
nice.
then. What about yourself, Brett? What did you? We'll start with what you loved, because you might not have anything that you hated.
Most fun for me, and again, maybe this doesn't count as achievement, but it was the platinum itself.
Fair enough. No, that counts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Again, I never set out to do it, but seeing at the end of my first playthrough that, knowing I missed it by one item essentially, or one trophy, I mean, I was just like blown away, because again, I usually don't go hunting for all achievements. I don't go hunting for platinum. I just play the game and have fun with it essentially. But this one I found, like, just because the game was so fun to me, and it was kind of like everything I was expecting or hoping it kind of was or would be. I just found that throughout playing and exploring, they just came to me, and then finally hitting that platinum after essentially not even knowing I was, 99% there. That was really fun.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. Least fun, it kind of ties into it, is that legendary armaments. Missing that thing by one weapon, and again, just a little sour about it all, but it was really fun, and that was the only thing that was maybe a downer for me.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I could see how that one just getting in your way would be.
Yeah, I totally was gonna go back to that area. I'm like, okay, I see I can climb up there, and then after the whole mountaintop thing where the ashes, change the whole capital or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm screwed.
Yep.
It's so sad, and like, yeah, the exact same thing happened to me on my first playthrough, and like I looked it up, and loads of people on like Reddit and whatever talking about how they also missed that achievement by one item, because it just gets locked away after a certain point in the game. It's
Exactly.
it's questionable.
Yeah, made me kick myself a little bit, but
Well, it's one of the few that you can lock yourself out of.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if there is too many, but that one for sure stunned me.
Like even the endings, you can like cure yourself with a frenzied flame. Like you're like
Yeah.
sort of locked into it, but you can just cure it and go back to whatever ending you want. It's yeah, it's weird that there's just one item tied to one achievement that you can actually completely miss.
Yeah, you think they would have went with none or a bunch, so it would either maybe have people want to do more playthroughs,
Yeah.
right off the bat.
No, that makes sense. See, and again, so for this one, I picked two separate bosses that were on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum for me. I think the one I enjoyed the most was Horalu. Like, just that fight, for some reason, I really enjoyed the spectacle of, especially his grab attack, just like suplexing you from like 50 feet up.
Yeah.
It is
Just because
unique.
like it doesn't do all that much, but it feels like it's meant to be a spectacle a lot more than some of the other bosses they've had.
Yeah,
True.
it turned
And
into
he
like
still
a Street
felt
Fighter
fair.
game.
Yeah. But he still felt like a fair challenge. He wasn't completely ridiculous like this next one I'm about to mention, which is which is going to be Melania, would you believe?
Ah, what?
Like,
Never
I
s-
had to completely redo my build, and John, we have a video of this because John joined me. We both respect and bleed builds with Rivers of Blood to make sure we could actually do it.
Yep. Well, that's a good tactic. Do what you can at that point, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like I make a point of killing her every single build I do, and one of the recent builds I did was like a lightning paladin who used a shield, and I think I was stuck on Melania for 4 days or something with that build.
Yeah,
Whereas
I believe it.
compared to like the Rivers of Blood build, I think I first tried her like as a mage. I think I killed her in 2 goes. But so yeah, it's just she is such a weird boss and so difficult on certain builds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the other thing that bothers me about Elden Ring so much is you can just completely screw yourself on specific builds, but only for certain bosses. And even that's not consistent. It's like your build will be good for 60% of the game, and then for another 30, it's just completely impossible.
Yeah, like the paladin character I just mentioned was absolutely god awful at Millennia, but made such incredibly easy work of my upcoming least favorite boss.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, I think that's part of the reason too. I think Elden Ring is the hardest of the Souls games because again, it's not even like one build is just bad for the whole game. It's just genuinely it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. It can't pick one. So it's hard to say there's objectively a bad build in the game.
I do like that. Like every build, like I haven't tried any like meme really bad builds yet, but every build I've done feels viable for at least like a good chunk of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got its uses somewhere.
Yeah.
So which bosses with achievements tied to them were your favorite and least favorite?
Again, this is kind of weird because it goes back to that hard achievement that I said earlier about Estelle.
Mm-hmm.
But I did find that one hard and fun at the same time. Again, we kind of play these games for the challenge, and that's what I found fun. But the most fun about it was even finding it. Going through all of Randy's quest line, going through Ainsel Well, talking to the mini doll and figuring out what the hell's going on with her. And then I spent a good chunk of the game just even trying to figure out how to get above the village of Albanarix.
Yeah.
Without knowing that, okay, it's going to come later down a quest line kind of thing. I thought, with this huge hidden underground village and mountainside, there's got to be a cave or a cliff or a ladder or something I'm missing.
I was
finally,
the
same way.
Yeah, and then seeing all the pieces just slowly start to drop in and being like, oh, shit. And then I look at the map, and then right where the elevator is where I'm under battling Estelle, and it all clicked for me, and I was like, okay. Just I had to have patience for it, and it all came together. But that one was really, really fun and hard. Least was, I gotta say, Renala.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a first boss battle for me. I beat her even in the second phase there. The gimmick, to me, it was like super present right away. Floating in the air, can't get up to her. She's got a bubble. And I just happened to start the fight right next to one of the students or whatever, the pupils on the ground, with the prayer incantation around them, like right beside me.
Okay.
So I didn't have to go hunting for them. I was like, oh, okay, this is obviously what you got to do. You got to hit it.
Yeah.
So I got lucky there, and the mechanic was very apparent, and it literally was like a very quick fight. I mean, I don't even think she got to summon her giant in her second phase.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is lucky because obviously like the students with the bubbles around them can actually like spawn behind like bookshelves and stuff.
Correct.
So like if you don't see them
the first time,
on your first try, like that can be a very tricky phase until you work out the gimmick.
Exactly. So I got very lucky in that sense, and then the rest of the fight just kind of played itself out. But again, still fun.
Oh, fair enough. How about you, John?
My most fun boss with an achievement is Mimic Tier. I just think that's such a unique fight, and it's different every single playthrough. It's it's not really something FromSoft has done before. They've done like a million dragons, but they've never done, hey, this guy's going to morph into an exact copy of whatever you're wearing as you walk in. I thought that was just a super fun boss, super fun gimmick, very unique.
Okay. And so how about your least favorite then? I'm curious.
The boss I found the least fun with an achievement was Dragon Lord Placidusax. Because he stalls so much. Like his first phase is he's just a big blob with tentacles and legs and arms and necks and shit poking out of him, and he just kind of flops around there on the ground, and you hit him a bunch and avoid his lightning spam. But then second phase, where he teleports into the sky and flies around all over, like all the time your like physic flask is draining away, and he's just stalling and delaying. It's very infuriating. I hate any boss that you can't like kill them whenever. Like if he's invisible in the sky, there's not much you can do. So yeah, I think he was my least favorite boss with an achievement.
See, I didn't like him just because he had the random like lightning slash attacks after he'd go invisible.
Yeah,
and
those
annoying. Were the ones that were always hardest for me to dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah, phase in and out like 5 times in a row.
Yeah. No, that is
giant nuke attack that he has.
Yeah, very frustrating fight.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm again very different. I think one of my favorites, and I didn't want to mention, Horaloo again because I really enjoyed this fight. But one of my other favorites would definitely have to be, Rykard. Not Rykard. What am I saying?
Okay.
Malekith. Why did I? Sorry, I had some
Very
other
different.
answers and I had put them on the wrong line. Anyway, Malekith. For some reason, the first time I fought Malekith, it just blew my mind. Like I don't like his like max health training mechanic, but just the aggression that he showed was something I haven't seen in a lot of Dark Souls fights. Like you have to be on him or you are dead, 100%. And I think it was it was one of the most tense fights I'd had up in the game up until that point.
It was very cool to see his reveal too. I mean,
yes.
you're doing the beast clergyman, and you find out the same thing or same dude, and again, put the pieces of the puzzle are starting to form, kind of thing.
And I was so confused because I had looked at a list of bosses. And I was like, I had seen Malekith and I'd seen Beast Clergyman. And I was like, okay, but wait. But I'm just fighting Beast Clergyman, and then halfway through it changes. I'm like, hang on, what the hell?
Yeah.
I found Beast Clergyman so hard that when he turned into Malekith, I was like, what, are you kidding me? I've really struggled with Beast Clergyman.
Oh man, I was okay with holy crap.
Beach Curly Man.
Beach Curly Man, there we go.
There you are.
Well, yeah, no, I was okay with him until he changed.
Are you talking when you fight him in Caelid? Just when he attacks you and goes crazy for the death route? Or the actual fight?
Yeah, the
actual fight for me.
Gotcha, okay.
I never actually fought him in Caelid, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, once you start giving him a certain amount of death route, he turns all psycho and crazy, and he fights angry. You in that temple.
Yeah, okay. I never gave him enough death route. That's probably why.
Yeah, that's another fun surprise. Is you're just giving this guy items to get spells, and all of a sudden he's like, "I'm gonna kill you now."
That tiny ass arena doesn't help in there.
Yeah, at least you can summon in there. You can summon your mimic tier.
Oh shoot! I never tried that.
I think it's only if you leave the gargoyle outside of his room alive, you can still summon. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. And I'm surprised neither of you guys mentioned this one. I think one of my least favorite bosses had to be Godskin Duo because it was one of their worst double boss fights the FromSoft has ever had.
That was my other pick for least fun, but I went with Placidusax.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just the fact that they both have such high health bars and then still respawn 15 seconds after being killed, and then just their overlapping attack patterns are just awful.
The big giant rolling blob.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
well, the other one's throwing fire at you, and you're like, come on, man. I died so many times to those guys.
Did you ever try Sleep Cheese?
I did not. So there was a lot of cheeses that I didn't know about, and I absolutely made some of those fights harder on myself than I had to.
Yeah, it becomes a lot easier if you just put one of them to sleep and then just focus one.
Yeah, I've seen runs with Sleep Cheese, and it's crazy just seeing him stand there and just take it.
Yeah, you can even sleep the one you're fighting, and you just get half their health bar in one go for free. It's amazing.
No, fair enough.
There's a good way to make that one a lot easier, which is nice.
Oh, man,
but it's not a fun fight.
No, and that's the thing. They had a great fight with Ornstein and Smo. And then just since then, they haven't been able to recapture that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. I will say their Godskin Duo might be my favorite track in the game, like soundtrack wise.
It is a pretty good
Oh,
track
wow.
if I can actually listen to it for more than 5 seconds before, 12,000 stabs are coming from Fatty over there.
So good. I've been listening to the soundtrack when I'm at work, just
Yep.
because I need like something like instrumental, like no lyrics or anything to distract me. So yeah, like
Mhm.
that one comes on, I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack.
hmm
That's fair. Okay, so gonna actually move on to the question I asked earlier, which
I don't think we still have hardest and easiest boss, right?
oh yeah. Okay, so what were, if it's any different than the ones we had just mentioned, what were the hardest and easiest bosses for you guys? Again, that still had achievements attached to them.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. I made sure to pick different bosses, and that's why
Okay.
one of these answers was missing from an earlier answer.
Gotcha.
The hardest boss, would you believe it, for me, was Melania.
I would believe it.
It's so funny. Like, I was rewatching a series of Dark Souls 3, like right after it came out. Like just rewatching it a couple of weeks ago, and they just got to Nameless King in that, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is the hardest boss FromSoft has ever made." And like looking at Melania and then looking at Nameless King, like they're like night and day. Like Nameless King feels so simple and easy compared to Melania now.
Mm-hmm.
Melania is she's just bullshit. She's
Yeah.
unfair. She really
Yeah.
is.
It's a steep learning curve.
It is like you can make her easy. You do a bleed build, it's easy, but she's still an unfairly designed boss. The fact that she can
Mm-hmm.
heal herself from attacking you, she can Scarlet Rot you, which is the worst status effect FromSoft has ever done, apart from
Mhm.
maybe like what is it, like Madness or whatever in
Oh yeah, man, this is pretty bad.
whatever the one in Bloodborne is. Frantic? No.
Oh, Frenzy.
Frenzy, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
that one's
that's
probably
brutal.
worse.
Yeah. Well, no, John, you know your classic line from our co-op series: "Just light yourself on fire."
You can't, I couldn't do
Because
that
there
on my
is a
bleed build.
self-immolation spell to get rid of rot.
That's true, but
So John is
honestly,
always telling us to light ourselves on fire.
honestly, like as bad as Scarlet Rot is, it's probably like your least concern in her fight. Like it's annoying that it can still happen, but like she has so many worse attacks that will just
Mhm.
destroy you and fully heal herself.
Yeah, that's
The amount
true.
of time you have to focus to, you can't even like dedicate it to clearing the rot.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then what was your easiest fight then?
Easiest boss I thought was Godfrey.
Okay.
Yeah, he every single time I've got to him, I don't know if I'm just like over leveled by that point, but he is just I just melt him every time. Like the first time, like on my first playthrough, just absolutely destroyed him. I think I was like very high level, because my mage needed, I think it was 80 intelligence to use like the moon spells. So
Mhm.
so yeah, that character was very overpowered. But yeah, just completely destroyed Godfrey. And I think you texted me and you were like, "What do you think of Godfrey? I think that was one of my favorite fights." And I was like,
Oh, you mean okay? Yeah, the Horaloo fight. Yeah, yeah.
No, Godfrey.
Oh, no, I texted you about like proper about Horaloo. I don't remember texting you about Godfrey.
You did. You said,
Oh.
"Did you like Godfrey?" And I said, "No, I don't even remember him." And then you realized you'd said the wrong name. But
Ah, okay. I was like, hang on a second.
yeah, but yeah, that's just such a forgettable fight for me. I couldn't even tell you what his attacks patterns are because I always find it so easy.
Oh,
This is the fight before Horaloo we're talking?
No, yeah. So this is Godfrey the Golden, the one who appears as like the
Okay.
specter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same room
Okay.
where what's his face is, the all-knowing boy is.
Gideon
Yeah.
off near.
Yes.
Okay.
I think for me, so this is actually why I had said Rykard earlier, because Rykard, I think, was one of the easiest fights for me. So obviously they give you the weapon in the stage, and you can stun him pretty effectively, even in his second phase.
Yes.
But I don't know. I like that fight. It was definitely easy. I also just put Melania as my hardest because no,
She is.
just get her out of here. Thank God she's an optional boss.
True.
Oh,
True.
if she was mandatory, I'm not sure how to finish the game.
Oh, wow.
Just because it would have pissed me off so much.
Yep. Shelf it for a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I could not do that.
Like Radon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Radon was also pretty bad, but I was able to get through Radon with, summons and all the other people.
Yeah. But
Then,
I had to shelf it for a bit with Radon just because he was so frustrating at first. Before I realized I was underleveled. But yeah, Melania is so hard.
That's fair. Okay, so
cinematic,
now we will... Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
I was just saying that I agree with the cinematics in Ride Card. It's kind of like the Yorm fight, right?
Yes.
You get the weapon right off the bat, and
Mm-hmm.
even though it is somewhat easy, it's a wicked fun fight.
Oh yeah.
I do think they nerfed the weapon because like my first 2 playthroughs was like very early on and it hadn't like been patched that much. I just like used the same attack. I think I just like did like R2 or something over and over and over. Didn't have to think about it and just killed him. And then when I went back to him on my 3rd character, just I felt like I was never staggering him, and I was actually having to change tactics and like think about things and dodge his moves. So I swear they made changes to that fight, and it's not the same as it was like right after launch.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't say I've played it since it got nerfed, but when it was good, it was good. So I don't know.
It's still
point.
Cool. It's just
Yes.
you actually have to like use all the abilities of the weapon now instead of just R2, R2, R2.
Fair enough. Okay, interesting. So now moving on to the actual question that I had, for some reason, just jumped right ahead to. So in regards to the bosses that don't have achievements tied to them, John, let's start with you. What were your most and least favorite bosses?
My favorite boss. I mean, all of my favorite bosses have achievements pretty much, but this is probably like the boss I liked the most that didn't have an achievement. That I thought like maybe should was Commander O'Neill in Caelid.
Okay.
Because Commander Nile has an achievement.
Yeah, Nile, that's it. Yeah.
But O'Neill, who's just like his equivalent, doesn't. And I thought that was very strange because like I think Godskin Noble has an achievement and Godskin Duo has an achievement. But O'Neill doesn't, while Nile does. So I just thought like he's a decently cool fight. He's pretty fun. He has a very unique weapon that drops from him, so he's a good one to kill every time. So yeah, I just thought he could have had an achievement.
No, that's fair. Okay, interesting. And what about your least favorite that doesn't have an achievement?
Least favorite boss with no achievement directly tied to it is fucking Elden Beast.
Yeah, that's the dumbest one that doesn't have an achievement tied to it specifically.
Like, I get, like, you get the ending right after it pretty much, but god, what an unfun fight. And again, just like my complaints with Placidus X, Elden Beast just dives under the map and pops up the other side of it and flies into the sky, and it's just so unfun.
Literal blob with tentacles, like you said.
Yeah, both of them are.
Both, yeah.
How about yourself, Brett?
Well, I agree with John on the least favorite there. Just
no, that's fair. Yeah,
a little disappointing on that, but my favorite was, it's kind of weird one, is the duo gargoyles in Siorfra Aqueduct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because I thought it was like a total throwback to first boss in Dark Souls 1. You know, you climb the clock tower, ring the first bell, you're fighting a bunch of gargoyles. And it was kind of tucked away enough, too, where it really felt like, okay, I've explored here. I went through this whole underground city, you know, did the mimic, blah, blah, blah. Got to this end spot and, you know, nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they could have been a little bit more wise in some of their, maybe remove some of the mandatory boss achievements and sprinkle some of the non-mandatory in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's where I'm at with those.
No, that's fair. So I think this is the first one that we all agree on. Because I agree, Elden Beast is absolute garbage for not having an achievement tied directly to it. It's so stupid. Why? But I also wanted to mention, it's weird that Godskin Noble has an achievement, Godskin Duo has an achievement, but Godskin Apostle on his own doesn't have an achievement. Like, it feels like they went 2/3 of the way and just said, nah, we don't care about Apostle all that much.
Don't you fight Apostle twice as well?
You can fight them both twice, because you can fight Noble in Volcano Manor, Apostle in the Windmill Village. You can fight them as the snail summons in that cave that I can't remember the name of, and then you can fight them as duo.
And you can also fight Apostle in Caelid Divine Tower.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yep.
that.
That's weird.
Yeah,
you
so-
fight these bosses so many times.
Yeah.
You fight a noble on the bridge to Liurnia's Divine Tower as well.
Mm-hmm.
That one's not a boss. Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but those don't actually relate to my favorite boss without an achievement, which we actually mentioned him earlier, was Blythe, because he technically does count as a boss during Randy's quest line.
Mm.
You
I
can
had
a
a
boss.
I would call him a boss. And same as any other boss you'd find at, say, the end of a cave or anything.
Oh, when you fight him in Lake of Rot,
Yeah, he's got a boss health bar.
he has an invader health bar.
Oh, right. But he's not technically an invader, though.
This was when Ranny asks you to like take care of the shadow or whatever.
The
kind of
baleful
thing.
Yeah, when you
shadow,
have
yeah.
the doll.
Right.
It was
Okay.
also really hard for me to find a boss without an achievement that I was like, that was memorable enough for me to at least remember the fight.
Fair.
There's one I really wish they could have put in, and it's I guess somewhat of a bonus, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
Taylor,
go for it.
Is Millicent.
Hmm.
It's such a long quest. I mean, you meet her in Caelid. You have to do these random and vague things to get her to the Halig Tree area, and then you have the chance to either help her or betray her.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be really cool if you invaded her, betrayed her at the end of it all, and fought her. That you'd get, again, just another achievement for one of those vague, kind of obscure bosses.
That's fair. I kind of see why they didn't, just because it would mean you'd have to redo the quest line potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's an interesting one. This one, I actually haven't fought her personally. I didn't do that. I didn't take her quest line in that direction. But no, that's interesting. That's not one I thought of before. John, have you fought her?
Yeah, it's annoying because her quest line gives you like 2 of the best talismans in the game,
Yeah.
and like if you're doing a bleed build, you want both of them. So it's hard. Like you can obviously only get one per playthrough. So she is like super valuable to do her quest line all the way through each time.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so moving on to a very similar topic. What was your favorite NPC quest line? Brett, let's start with you on this one.
Sure. It's kind of a double-sided one. It's the Lord of Frenzied.
No.
It is.
Interesting.
I just mean from all the different weird things, like from meeting Iriana by Castle Morn or whatever, Iriana and Morn being both names from Dark Souls, it kind of got my brain going. Because I really went into this hoping to find like a solid connection to either any of the previous FromSoft games. It was one of my main drives, and that's why I kind of took my time and checked every nook and cranny kind of thing. But it was just really, I had no idea where that story was going. It was just unfolding out so slowly for me. But the other ones, I was kind of, okay, I could kind of see where this is going. I knew this was kind of like the evil ending of the game, and I didn't know how it was going to pan out. Between the such obscure lore of Shabriri, and now he ends up coming back and like possessing which one of my favorite characters was Yura.
Yeah.
And like how that whole thing played out, and like it just added like a whole different side of it, which was like the possession side, and Iriana being the exact same as Hyeda, their character models the same, the voice the same. Like it was just really confusing to me, but in a good way that I wanted to find it out. And then of course it had the ending tied in, so the payoff was there for me too.
Yeah, it
to
all
do all
fair.
of that.
Okay.
all worth it at the end.
Exactly.
That's
And then
nice.
just a small bonus one was Selens.
Oh, okay.
Fully
Yes.
complete that.
Yeah. Who did you side with in Sellen's quest line?
I did side with her. And I
Okay.
just the funny thing is the irony, how her lust for power just turned her into one of those glintstone rocks in the end anyway.
That took like such a dark turn.
I know, I had
holy
no idea it was going there.
Yeah, you like warp back in, and there's just like
Same
this
with Bach.
big- Yeah,
It's another one that takes a dark twist. I thought I was helping the poor guy out.
oh god, yeah. You like let him be reborn or whatever.
Yes, with the larval tear. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like where it takes like, I mean, like all the quest lines are like pretty dark anyway, but like
Yes.
some of them go above and beyond.
They do,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so John, how about you? Do you have what was your favorite quest line?
My favorite quest line is like barely related to an NPC, but it's the Volcano Manor quest line. I guess it's related to like
Okay.
6 different NPCs.
Yeah, barely
Yeah.
related. It's related to the highest number of NPCs.
Probably, well, I think Ronnie probably has more crossover,
Yeah.
but yeah, Volcano Manor. It's so fun. Like getting actual quests and stuff. I thought was so satisfying, and just doing like scripted invasions, like where you're the bad guy invading NPCs, is super fun. I found, and in my first playthrough, like I think I did the first one, and then like got the message for the second one, and I was just like progressing through Volcano Manor. I killed Rykard, and then obviously that shuts off the quest line for you. And I was
Mhm.
so sad because I just wanted to keep doing these quests because they seemed so fun to me.
Huh. See, I got all the assassinations before I killed Rykard.
That's what I do every time now, but like,
Yes.
yeah,
Get
like,
Juno Hoslow, get the whip, everything.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's super fun, and like it takes you all over the world. Like your first invasion's in Limgrave, and then your last one's in like Mountaintop.
John, are you trying to say that this is the Aladdin of Elden Ring quests?
Yes.
Because it will show you the world.
Yes, I am now.
There we go. We have the Aladdin of Elden Ring quests.
Yeah, it's got a badass vibe too. That place is
Mhm.
really cool looking.
Really cool, yeah. I loved that one. I just stumbled on in there.
Mhm.
See, and I'm totally different because I had two that kind of tied for first place for me. One was Randy's questline, just because it's great. There's nothing to complain about there outside of the stupid dragon. That's in the one that we killed recently, John. Whatever his name is, the magic dragon.
Adula.
Glintstone one? Oh,
Yeah, Puff the magic dragon.
Yeah, the one right
and-
outside the cathedral.
Yeah,
Oh, up top.
Up top,
Yeah.
yeah.
outside
Gotcha,
of that
yeah.
guy. Great quest line. And I think the other one that tied it for me, the one that I didn't actually do until much later, was Alexander's quest line.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
following it through all the way.
hmm
Did
'cause, like-
you, question,
Yeah. Yes.
did you do his in relation to the Jarburg questline, or did you do his as a standalone quest?
I did his as a standalone,
Okay.
but I watched Vadi's after that, actually. Vadi's Prepare to Cry around Jarburg is what
Right.
inspired me to do the quest line.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Both of them
But I-
together are so cool.
I
Yes.
know, and I just I fell in love with Alexander when you first had to knock him out of his little
Yeah.
hole, and I was just like, who is this guy? What is this?
Yeah, what gimmick do we have here now?
And
Yeah.
then just, I don't know, following it was nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
he was almost like that Sequard character, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
He had
Yeah,
that-
definitely.
Filled the void of him, that friendly
Okay, so
battle
again,
warrior.
non-scripted question, but it goes along with this. Who was your favorite NPC?
Oh god.
Just on the
yeah.
spot, top of your head.
Oh, man.
God, probably Alexander. He's he's a cool boy.
He is. How about you, Brett?
That's a tough one.
There's so many good
Yeah.
ones.
There
Mhm.
is. I might default back to Yura just because, again, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but yeah, I like where his story went and where he kind of came in. He had his Eleonora or whatever he was trying to save. I don't know if that was his love or whatever, or his daughter or something like that.
I think that was his daughter. Could be wrong.
Yeah, again, I just like how, again, those little small details there. But
Mhm.
I found him early on in the Limgrave Lake or whatever, where you fight that first dragon,
Yeah.
and then he helps you with that invader, and then you get
Oh.
Reduvia. So I met him
Yeah.
early on, and you keep seeing him pop up. So yeah, maybe I'll stick with Yura.
Oh, fair enough. I think for me, one of my favorites was Gideon Ofnir, just because he was such an asshole.
I hate Gideon.
But
Very
he
much.
also, he was that guy who's like, you're a complete dickhead, but he still had enough heart to raise Nephili from a child. And it's like, why do you have to have one redeeming quality that's actually big enough to redeem you? So I
Yeah,
don't know.
he
I really
was
and
a
I
bit of-
do want to do an RP playthrough as him, just to
Mm.
be a complete asshole and to do his whole monologue in every single boss fight.
Oh my god, yes.
Can you imagine just RP walking to the boss, doing his whole monologue every time you fight a boss?
That would be amazing. I also do love, like, when you first get to the round table hold, he, like, welcomes you, but he's like, you're just a guest here, you know, I've seen your kind come before, and, you know, you'll die soon, whatever. And then you kill Godric, and you go back, and he's like, all right, you've convinced me you're something special. I quite like that, like, progression with him.
He's willing to admit when he was wrong.
Yeah.
But then he still says, I don't know, I'm still gonna fight you. You can't, like, man can't kill a god.
And
It's
he
like,
still
well, I proved
asks
you wrong.
if you've you have to search out the Albinauric woman, of course.
Oh, yes.
Just over and over.
Yep.
Oh man. I don't know, he struck a nerve with me, both in a good and a bad way.
And his fight is like pretty impressive. Like, he's just busting out like all these different types of spells. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong, but I think he has a mechanic where his spells changed on the variety of what you've discovered, right? On what you've learnt.
Is that true?
I have no idea.
I think I might have seen something on that, because again, he's getting the all-knowing.
Right.
So it's depending on what you know, kind of thing.
Ooh.
I could be wrong.
That's cool.
I'm Googling it right now, so we will come back to that in just a second here.
Okay.
So we'll move on to this next question, then I'll circle back around. Do you guys feel that the quest lines should have achievements attached to their completion?
Yes, definitely. There's like the achievements in this are like, they're just bosses, and that's basically it. So yeah, like getting achievements for doing all the Volcano Manor assassinations or something like that, for seeing Jarberg all the way through, for like you make Nefeli Lu a ruler, and like in game you get an upgrade material. But I think that's such a cool lore story and quest line, and it's just a shame that there's no achievements to any of these quest lines. Like, there's not much motivation to do many of them in playthroughs, and like Brett was talking about, like Millicent's quest line is so vague and very satisfying to do, and the ending is so cool. And yeah, I think all of them should have achievements, honestly.
Okay.
Yep.
How about you, Brett?
1000% agreement. It's pretty much everything I had, kind of jotted down here. Selin, again, that's one I brought up. I felt that totally deserved one.
Yeah.
Alexander, Volcano Manor, Nefeli, like you said, you find Gustok and Kenneth, and you go all across Limgrave to find a new king for this place, and it seems like it would be a pretty big deal, and again, like you said, you get one upgrade item.
Yeah.
It just felt it was a little lackluster, and they just kind of, I feel they did get a little bit lazy with choosing some of the achievements, for sure.
Yeah. And
That's fair.
Like, speaking of Nefeli Lu, like, it's hard to believe like that questline wasn't finished when the game came out.
Yes, I know.
That's mind-blowing. Like, I do it like every time now, just because I find it's like fairly short, but it's quite a satisfying questline to do. But yeah, like at launch wasn't there. Like it was half there.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, just left more questions than answers at that point.
Yeah.
See, and I don't think that it should have they should have achievements attached to them, because Souls games before this never have, and I've mentioned this before, I didn't like how they were attached to covenants in previous Souls games, and it feels not nearly as bad as Covenants. Covenants were absolute garbage, but it feels kind of as obscure. And I will ask you this, a kind of modification to the question. If they didn't mark NPCs on your map, like it was when at first launch, would you still feel that the quest line should have achievements attached to them?
Yes, they're easy enough to look up, honestly. Like, I don't use the markers in game. Like, if I want to do a quest and I don't remember it, I'll just look up a little guide on it. Like, most of them only have like 5 to 10 steps or something. Like, I like that they added the NPC markers to the map, but I don't need them.
Okay, and how about you, Brett? Do you think you would change your answer, or?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, especially now. I mean, the amount of time that I put into it, and the amount that is committed to memory at this
Yes.
point. I mean, um, yes, I think I wouldn't change my answer.
Okay, interesting. So while we were just chatting, I looked this up, and this is something that I've never personally done, but I think reinforces my position that Gideon should be, or rather, is my favorite NPC. Apparently, he does gain new spells based on what bosses you've told him about.
Oh,
That you've beaten.
That's the gimmick.
So apparently,
the
if you
secrets you
like,
tell.
you don't just beat the boss, but you have to beat the boss, tell him about it, and then he, like, for instance, this guy on Reddit was saying he used Scarlet Aeonia and Blood Boon.
huh.
I've never seen him do that, but I've also never talked to him about the boss fights that I've encountered.
That's crazy. I haven't done that in a few playthroughs.
Yeah.
So yes, apparently Gideon is genuinely a boss that you can control the difficulty of to some degree by telling him what fights you've done.
Mhm.
That is
Which
so
just
cool.
means RPing him makes it so much harder, and you would absolutely have to do New Game Plus where you've beaten all bosses.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love
just those
that.
hidden little mechanics, right?
Yeah. That's neat.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next question. I did have to look this one up because it wouldn't show me on Steam, and I don't know if it's different for PlayStation, but
Oh, yeah.
gonna go on the statistics that I found on this website that I'll link down below. The rarest achievement, according to this, that isn't getting all achievements, is legendary sorceries and incantations.
That is not what I found on Steam.
Really?
Yes.
What'd you find on Steam?
Steam says Lord of Frenzied Flame is the rarest.
Huh.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
I wonder if it's different on PlayStation. Brett, were you able to look that up at all?
To be honest, I thought it was just more of a personal opinion, but I can type that up real quick.
Oh, okay.
here.
because I was just on trueachievements.com, so obviously it's based on whoever input it. Interesting.
Because yeah, you can see all the like Steam stats and like
Yeah.
was it's 13.1% of people have the Lord of Frenzied Flame achievement, and then only
okay, I'm seeing what you
7.8
are.
of Elden Ring.
And then I'm seeing 14.6 for legendary sorceries.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so why don't we... I don't know what it's going to be for PlayStation, because I don't know if they have a website for that.
Yeah, they don't have like a live, like a percentage of how many people have hit it.
Oh,
They just
okay.
give you like a percentage of like if it's common or rare to
Mm.
hit in the game itself.
Okay.
So, okay,
Um,
why don't we talk about both the sorceries... Well, this one's also saying legendary armaments, but I think we know why that one's so rare.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about legendary armaments. So let's talk about Lord of Frenzied Flame and legendary sorceries and incantations. Why do you guys think those would be two of the rarest achievements?
Well, Frenzied Flame, I think we all know why. Just
Ah.
again, the platforming, the obscurity of it all. I mean, even finding that place, getting down through all the sewers, beating
Mhm.
Mog, the cursed demon, whatever the version of him, and then finding the secret hole behind the boss battle or whatever kind of thing. All of that was just, I think, a lot to sift through.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
As for the incantations, I mean, again, those ones all just kind of came to me. I was very, I guess, maybe aware of how those walking monuments worked. So I kind of held on to my boss souls to make sure I would find the right monument first to duplicate them.
Mm.
So I could then get the legendary incantations or whatever if it came from a boss soul or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it made that a little bit easier, but I mean, I guess me personally, I didn't have too much trouble with the incantation side of it. Or spells.
All right, and how about you, John? Did you have much difficulty with those?
Well, I'm just looking at the list of them now, and I think I could find all of them again, no problem, except for Elden Stars. It's found in Deeproot Depths near the Great Waterfall Crest site, and like, 'cause I'm doing a battle mage right now. I was actually looking for this in Deeproot Depths. I didn't want to look it up. I wanted to see if I could remember how to find it, and I could
Mhm.
not. So, I think that is probably possibly the culprit for a lot of people not getting that achievement. Is I've done it. I've found that one before, and I couldn't re-find it. So
Yeah.
I wonder how many people just also weren't able to find it at all.
See, and I think what it comes down to genuinely is just lack of effort and desire to like look for everything.
Yeah, like if you're
It
not doing a mage, like you're not going to go out of your way to find spells.
and even the frenzied flame, like Brett was mentioning, is so much work. I think so many people just don't want to go out of their way to do that. Like I get frenzied flame is a little more. I would, which is weird. I thought frenzied flame would be less rare than incantations because it's based around an ending. I figured more people would go for it. So I was really surprised to see that had fewer people go for it. But I think just the amount of effort for one small change is what holds people back in my mind.
Yes, you bring up a very good point. You're talking like the endings.
Yeah, because like the endings aren't all that different. We know that, we've seen them.
No,
and it's I get it may have an impact later, but usually, as we all know, the Souls games just never, they never carry on a canon ending that actually has an effect from what you did in the first game.
Right.
So I think people just weren't willing to put in all this extra effort to see a cutscene they could just YouTube.
But you get cool glowing eyes.
You do.
Those are the most badass eyes.
They are very cool.
But it also raises another issue, and this is the issue that I had with this ending, is selecting the right hat to go with the eyes during the cutscene.
Yes.
I went with Loretta's because it doesn't cover like the arch thing, so I had like the eyes and the weird arch thing. That looked pretty good, but like it was a struggle for me. I genuinely had to like go through all of my helmets, be like, what would look the best here?
Yeah.
Snow Witch hat.
There you go.
Snow
yeah,
Witch
I got
pretty good.
Shares.
Oh yeah,
okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
It's nice because like the brim's like low, so like you can't see it at first, but then you like tip the camera up underneath them, and the bam, there's the glowing eyes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's got that little hanging glintstone with it.
Yeah. His set's so
So
cool.
So for you guys, what was the most memorable achievement, and why did it have such an impact?
For me, I put the Erd Tree of Flame achievement, which is where you light the Erd Tree on fire. It's one of like a tiny handful of achievements that's story related and not related to a boss or anything. It like signifies that you're moving through a pretty significant part of the game, and I just thought it was quite impactful that the Erd Tree looms over you from the very moment you step foot into Limgrave. It's pretty much always there, and then the story of the game just takes a bit of a turn, and you say, to hell with my quest up until now. I'm gonna burn this down and do what I want from now on. I thought that was quite meaningful.
Very nice.
How about yourself, Brett?
I had a hard time picking between one that was a boss fight and the ending, the Ronnie's questline, the Stars ending. I just really like the cosmic horror style of things, even with Bloodborne getting into space and things like that. I thought I would get a little bit more insight into something, with that ending. It was still everything I wanted it to be. And, the quests were great, the characters throughout, and, Blythe and all that stuff. But that ending was just, it was really cool space. I don't know how they're going to go from there. I'm really hoping that kind of what you were speaking to a little bit earlier, that they've never had an ending that's tied into further gameplay. But I'm hoping that that's something that they might change, where, if you want to go down this path or do these other quests, maybe within DLC or something, you had to have gone down Randy's quest line and be her consort or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really like that side of it. It was a pretty grand story. And then the other one that was boss related was Radon, believe it or not.
Huh.
There was just, I've heard so much hype around him and how everyone was having a hard time, and I was putting him off and off and off because I'm like, well, I don't want to get pissed off with this game and shelf it or anything. So
yeah.
But then I finally tried it, and it was just an insane fight. It almost felt like a MMO. You got all those summons there. You're bringing everybody in. It was just mayhem. And it wasn't an easy fight by any means for me. And it was my first fight that I killed him, but it was like literally down to the wire. And I just remembered jumping out of my chair and woohoo, screaming, scared the crap out of my dog and my wife. And Just because I had had so much build up and fear of him, and then finally taking him out that first try was pretty fun.
Nice. Man, I couldn't even approach Radon. I genuinely just kept dying to the arrow shots.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I did not learn to dodge those until like the 4th time I was fighting him.
Yeah.
That was rough for me. I'm different in the sense that I actually went, I think, with the least enjoyable ending, which is just like the regular Elden Lord ending, as my most memorable, partly because it was the first one that I did, but also to me, in every one, in most of these Souls games, you're told, your one purpose is to do this, is to light the flames, to carry on, to, take over for, Jesus Christ, take over for whoever was there before you, and then you're always tempted by these other people, like, no, you should do this, no, you should do that, no, you should send me to space because I'm an astronaut. And I was just like, you know what? I want to just do what I want to do. I don't want to hear nobody talking in my ear telling me what to do. I'm just going to do this of my own free will. And to me, it felt like you were in control of what you wanted, not what somebody else wanted you to do. It's not like either light it or walk away. It's like, no, I'm going to take the throne. Y'all can just deal with your own goals. I'm not helping you.
Yeah, it did make the most sense, I think, too, because, like you said, with those other endings, all the amount of work that you go through for such a minute change, like, at least with that one, you're left with, like, okay, I've earned this throne. This is now mine. I'm sitting on it. I can do with it as I please. There's no, like, vague, small little twist or anything. It kind of leaves you with that satisfaction, like, you earned it.
Yeah, like you compare that to like Dark Souls 2, where you can also take the throne, but then it just like seals you away in the kiln. But then here you take the throne and no twist, you are the Elden Lord. It's nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt like the first Souls-like or proper FromSoft Souls game where you weren't, I don't want to say punished, but it felt like it wasn't just like the most boring, bland option out there.
Right.
Or like that you were making the wrong choice by just doing that.
And it is cool that there's 3 variations of that cutscene. Depending on which rune you use.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Correct.
I just had the most basic. I can't remember what the other 2 versions were that I didn't get.
Actually, I
but
guess
like I said, that was my rushed playthrough.
Right.
They really should have added achievements for even all of the endings, in my opinion. There's, a total of 6?
That would have been a lot of achievements, though.
I think there's 7, actually. Because I think
7?
You can, like, take the throne without using any of the runes, right? Or you can do Dung Eaters, or Fias, or Gold Masks.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do it without using one.
I think so. I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
It's 6 or 7 at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and I think if they were to implement an achievement for every ending, you would have to distinguish each ending more than it is.
Yeah. Just like instead of just color tinting it.
Yeah, so this is the problem actually that I had with Code Vein, which is a future episode for later, is you could, if you didn't do all of like the equivalent of runes in that game, you got the ending, but then if you did do all the runes, you got the ending, and then one word spoken by a character during a black screen. That was the only change they made, and it legitimately had a different achievement for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to have made like different cutscenes for the different rune endings instead of just making one like yellow and one dark.
Like if they had genuinely put in effort to make each one feel distinct, and had told you like, hey, doing this, not necessarily with just a tutorial message, but like NPCs kind of really hinting that doing this will have a genuine impact on the world, then I would totally agree. Yes, have different achievements, but as it stands right now, I don't think they're distinct enough or require enough different work to justify being considered different things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, They definitely require a lot of distinct work, but yeah, they're not different enough right now to justify achievements for them.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Have you ever finished Dung Eater's questline, by the way?
I've not actually. I've done like half of it and then I just gave up on it.
Yeah. Have you done it, Brett?
Yeah, that one takes I have, yeah. That one does take a while.
I've
it's
done
finding those seedbed curses for me.
Yeah, they're hard to find. I've done it once, but I didn't like take his ending yet. So that's the last one I need to do.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
maybe I'll do it on our co-op playthrough. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. I don't know if I want to put in a lot of effort again.
Yeah, I'm torn between that and Frenzied Flame for the co-op ending.
Man, you're putting in so much effort for these.
I like making my endings thematic.
That's fair.
Like my battle mage now, I need to do Ronnie's ending just because I'm a mage.
Makes sense.
Is there an achievement you would remove for the game, and why? I'm guessing I know the answer for all of us, but John, we'll start with you.
I don't know if you know my answer then, because my answer is no.
That's kind of what I figured.
Okay, but I had a caveat, and I said I would tweak the weapons one so that you can't lock yourself out of it.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
that would be
that
nice.
was it.
How about you, Brett? Is there a trophy you would remove?
I mean, the only reason I would say to remove would be in the hopes that they would add other different ones, per se, you know? But again, I don't think there's a limit to achievements. I don't know how that works, but I mean, maybe some of the minor mandatory bosses that you have to fight, again, like Red Wolf of Radagon or whatever in Raya Lucaria.
I was just thinking him today, actually.
Yeah. Like it's on your path of progression. You know you're going to fight him. If you want to go to one of the coolest looking places, you're probably not going to pass up Raya Lucaria.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You fight him. Yeah, maybe they don't put that in there per se, and it opens up for, again, maybe some of those NPC quest lines. I know the question didn't say what did you want to add, but I'm saying if they maybe remove some of those, it could have opened up room for others.
So the original question was what would you remove, so that's totally fine.
Okay.
And I see, I'm kind of with John on this one, but I'm kind of with you on this one too, is that there's not really any I would want to remove, but I might maybe change them. So like you said, maybe take it away for something like, Radagon, but have an achievement for kind of completing Raya Lucaria as a whole, so to speak. So have it be more thematic around story progression in a vaguer sense, not something focused on bosses.
Yeah, it was just so much like, okay, it's a boss, a trophy, or you're ending a quest line. That's pretty much all it was.
Yeah.
And then mind you, the collection of items. Even the items, I think they could have tweaked those rather than just legendary armaments. Why not make it another separate achievement for the rare armaments, the purple drops, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add another layer for those who go, okay, I'm going to go crazy for the collection and try and hunt every little piece of gear I can and hunt for that super hard achievement to get every purple.
Yeah.
See, and I don't know. It to me feels like the wrong genre for that kind of collectathon achievement.
Which is... Again, I guess it depends on the volume they're trying to do, too, right? Yeah. I don't know how many purples are in the game, per se, but at least to maybe tweak it to where it wasn't just those legendaries, per se. For example, just regarding weapons.
Fair enough. How about you, John? You were going to say something there.
Well, I was going to say, like, they've clearly, like, mimicked these achievements so closely on Dark Souls achievements, except for when it comes to the collections, like...
That's true, yeah.
All other Dark Souls games had you collect every single sorcery instead of just the legendary ones.
Exactly. Every weapon.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So it would fit in closer with original Souls.
Yeah. And yeah, I still find it weird that there's no achievement for gathering all the gestures in this game, because that's always quite a unique one in Dark Souls 3. And it's just not here in Elden Ring for some reason.
Okay, so similar question. Did you guys get all gestures in the game?
I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I'd have to check with a list.
Yeah,
I definitely know I didn't, because I know there's some I'm missing. But yeah, there's so many gestures.
Oh yeah, and I really like how they tied some into like locking areas out of the game, like that erudition that you get from a quest.
Yes,
which is so big. Again, something that maybe they could have added more on, an achievement for something like that, because that was pretty obscure and out there, and I just think more emphasis on things like that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
More like unique achievements.
Yeah,
they are not.
Just spice it up a bit.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm gonna jump ahead just a bit because I think we've already answered this one. Do you guys think the developers, like, does it feel like they cared about the achievements for this game?
No.
Nope.
No, it
Not
really
at all.
doesn't. They fall into such a pattern and routine of how they do these things.
They have.
And it's so sad because they could get so creative with it.
Big time.
Yeah, like
I know this game was supposed to be more accessible and get people involved and stuff, but it does just because some of the gameplay aspects were, and doesn't mean you have to really, dull down those achievements. There's people that have played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro. They know what to expect, and then when they come into it, it's like, oh shit, I didn't even have to veer off my course, and I kind of got everything just from learning to play those other games.
Yeah. And like we complained about the Dark Souls 3 achievements in that episode, and they look good compared to Elden Ring's achievements. They're so so uninspired.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy. Like we came up with so many interesting ones just today, and they just didn't come up with really a single interesting one apart from like maybe the story ones. Like those are different. Those aren't in Dark Souls, but apart from those, they're just like, oh yeah, we need the achievements. What do we want? Like 20 boss achievements. There we go. We'll do those ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's infuriating how regular they are.
Yeah, they definitely could have put more effort.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the list before we get too far down this rabbit hole, how many times did each of us actually play the game through and through to get all achievements? John, I know you have the most, so we'll start with you.
I've got. I mean, you need to get 3 ending achievements, so you have to finish the game 3 times, I guess. I know you can do it all in the same character if you want. I've finished the game 4 times. I'm working on my 5th and 6th right now.
And I've technically finished. Well, I've run the game through and through twice, gotten all the endings because, like I said, I copied a character, and I'm working on my 3rd playthrough right now. How about you, Brett?
Very nice. It was, again, I got everything on my first playthrough except for that one item. I admit that I did do the cloud save, so that's kind of cheating the system a bit, but I do think since, I found all the required items to do it anyway, I was like, you know what, screw it. If it works, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I think myself the time, and I was at 170 hours by that point.
And I think with such a small difference in the endings, it's sometimes, depending on which ending you're going for, the real test should be, can you beat the final boss again? And that, to me, because, there are some games that will throw you back to right before the final boss, so you can just do that and get the achievement. So it's not like it's a new thing that we've just started doing.
Right.
But, I don't know, I get it's cheating the system, I get it's playing the system a bit, but I don't think it's as bad as some people might make it out to be.
Fair, yeah. It did shave time, for sure, but... So I guess technically it would be 2, because, again, it was round 170 or so, but after... That's including having to go back on my 2nd playthrough and get to Lanedale Capital for that bolt of Grandsaps.
Oh man, that's a rough one.
Yeah, still sour.
Okay, so does it feel do you feel that the game rewards you for getting all achievements? Is there some kind of bonus that you feel it gives you, or is there anything that kind of comes out of it?
No. Not for me personally. Not even like, heck, I would have been okay with like a description in a trophy or something. That gave more than what the endings gave.
Yeah, that's fair.
Again, they were so copy and paste, like find this, find that, kill this, kill that. For me, I was intending to do those things anyway. Try to kill all bosses, find all items, kind of thing, as much as I can in a playthrough. So I think they just kind of got lazy with those, and I think a lot of people will have easier times hitting all achievements on this, or a higher percentage of trophies than they have with other FromSoft games, even, because they're just almost handed to you.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like, if you're taking your time and exploring, like, it's very difficult to miss the legendary items one apart from maybe the weapons one, whereas you compare it to Dark Souls 3, where you have to go into New Game Plus 2 to get some of the rings and weapons and stuff. It's night and day. compared to those.
Yep.
No, absolutely. I would 100% agree. There's nothing. The game doesn't give you anything.
No.
So yeah, I mean, it's a long line of games that just don't do anything for you for getting all achievements because they don't care about people like us. But it still hurts.
Yeah, it stings a bit. I mean, luckily, we probably all agree because that's why we're here talking about the game. But just that FromSoft is a good enough game to keep me going, where I can look past those little flaws and hitches and hope for more, whether it's DLC or their next game kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you hope it's not like the start of a trend where they're just like, okay, we're successful, we figured out the gameplay formula, but let's maybe dull down on some of the minor things.
Yeah, like make the trophies even worse.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this on the Dark Souls episode where they didn't add trophies for the DLCs for Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried. Like the DLC is going to come out and it's going to be cool and it's going to have all these new bosses, but there's not going to be achievements for them.
Yeah. I'm so curious to see how that plays out.
It'll be very interesting.
Okay, so this one is similar to a previous question. What achievement felt the most rewarding to actually get? So not necessarily, what was the most memorable for you, but what was the one you were like, thank God, I can't believe I did this. Like you could feel the relief or a sense of like joy washing over you as you got this one.
For me, this one definitely has to be Radahn.
Okay.
On my first blind playthrough, I was...
We'll call it a blind through, why not?
A blind through. On that blind through, I didn't realize the huge jump in difficulty between like everything pre-Radahn and Radahn. By that point I was probably like level like 45 or something, and I didn't realize you needed to really be about like 100 to face Radahn.
Wow.
And I was just stuck on him. I was trying him over and over and over again, just getting furious trying to kill him. And then I eventually gave up and left and went and leveled a bunch, found out about the farming method, got myself up higher level, went back to him and killed him first try then, and it was just it was incredibly rewarding to finally have taken down my big nemesis of the game.
Okay, that's
Very
fair.
nice.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. How about you, Brett? What was your most rewarding?
Might seem like a cop-out, but it was definitely the platinum for me.
Again, nothing wrong with that, man.
Again, these are games that I just try to find every little nook and cranny. I mean, I scour every little, as I'm sure you guys do, item description for some hidden piece of lore or whatever it might be. So it was just nice. Again, maybe a little bit could have been better arrangement or variety of achievements, but having that top one to say I've finished them all off by this point, it was nice to say that, okay, I've gotten everything that at least the developers want me to find or see. Whatever I find now is extra and over the top for me or my curiosity. But at least I've gotten, like, per se, the basics, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I get you.
So, yeah, platinum for sure.
Nice. See, mine is similar to John, not necessarily in the sense that I was under-leveled, but in the sense that I was just so happy to be done with it, and it is Melania.
Yeah.
Just because, like, she was so hard for so long, and it was just so nice to be finished with it. Even though I cheesed her, I still felt just that genuine sense of, thank God it's over.
Especially because, like Brett mentioned, like you heard like tales of Radahn before you got to him. After a couple of weeks, you would hear people talking about how hard Melania was, and like it just kind of builds up in your mind, and you don't really know what to expect. So yeah, like once you've had all that build up, you fight her, you get her done. Yeah, a bit of a weight off your shoulders.
I just remember, John, when I summoned you to help me beat Radahn for the first time, and you had titled it helping Taylor defeat the most BS boss in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And then the first comment was, you haven't seen the most BS boss yet. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was like, no, it can't be worse. And it is worse.
Oh, it is so much worse. Oh, but yeah, no, just that was just so nice to be over and done with.
Yeah.
Yeah. You move past it, right?
So I'm not Brett. Does it tell you when you got your trophies, like in like what time and day and stuff?
Yeah, I have to go back in, but what PS4 does is it's silly as it sounds, it snaps a screenshot at the time.
Oh,
Yeah, I
So
love
whenever
that.
the little trophy pops up, so I would just have to go back to my Elden Ring folder or whatever and see the times and dates per se.
okay.
But they're
So
all there, yeah.
this next question is, what was your crowning achievement? So the one you got, like the one that popped right before it let you get all achievements. I'm curious to know what your guys' are because I'm assuming it's one of the ending achievements, but it's not a guarantee.
I think I know Brett's.
Yeah, you guys would if you've remembered
Yeah.
me talking.
It's the legendary
the,
weapons.
You got it. Yeah,
Which is
legendary
interesting to me.
armaments.
How
Yeah.
about you, John?
Is the Elden Lord achievement. That was just the
Really?
last ending I did, yeah.
Huh. So you're like, oh, the Elden Lord ending is boring. I'm not going to do it
Save
till
it for
last.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Huh. And for me, it was Frenzied Flame ending,
Okay.
just because screw that ending.
That was the first ending I did.
Man, that's so weird. You were all totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already covered guides. Okay, has this whole experience changed the way you look at the game now? And do you regret going for all achievements?
Is that in relation to looking at a guide?
No. So we're skipping over the guide one just because we've already discussed that one. But just like your experience playing the game through and through, guide or no guide, do you regret going for all achievements? Has it changed how you may look at the game now from how you looked at it before?
I mean, maybe it does a little bit because I guess if I didn't get all the achievements, I wouldn't have been aware of how crummy they are per se.
Yeah.
But no regrets at all. I'm really glad. I mean, again, I just hope for better tweaks or a little bit more insight and time when they're putting these together in the future. Because again, they were definitely lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, John?
Has it changed the way I look at the game? No, like they're so easy to get. Like you really hardly have to go out of your way to get the achievements. Like there's no real extra investment of your time compared to like something I mentioned, like a game I've talked about before, like Ghostwire Tokyo, where you have to keep playing quite a bit and do a lot of collecting and stuff. This one, you just don't have to go out of your way to get all of them, pretty much. So no, hasn't changed the way I look at the game, and no regrets because it's not too much of an investment.
Fair enough. I'm the outlier here. I'm the third wheel. I regret going for it as quickly as I did, like in such a condensed time period. I wish I'd spread it out more, but also, it changed the way how I look at the game because it took away, or it's giving me this sense of dread of the direction that FromSoft is going in terms of their achievements. Like, you had the biggest game they've ever made, the most bosses, the most quest lines, the most everything, and you had the least creative achievements they could have come up with.
Yeah.
And it's just like, where is this going in the future? How much of a difference am I going to see from the next few titles of, great game, great content, and then just like the most bland laundry list of achievements you've ever seen?
It's interesting you mentioned that it's like the biggest game, because I just checked how many achievements it and Dark Souls 3 have. And Dark Souls 3 actually has one more achievement. Yeah, it has 43, and Elden Ring has 42.
So yeah, like even that, it has fewer achievements than a game, which I would argue is, I don't know what, portion of its size. I would say probably less than 3/4 of the size of Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And it's
I
just,
would agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. It fills me with fear for the future of where FromSoft is going.
I guess there could be no achievements in this game and it would still be my favorite game of all time. So like I don't have that same feeling that you do. Like if their next game doesn't have them, whatever, I'll live with it. But yeah, so like I don't feel like that worry that you do, but it is disappointing that they're so bland.
Yeah, I'd be much more upset if like the game was bad and very bland, but when it's just the achievements, I'm more okay with it in that sense. Like it's less of a fear of the game being bad, but it's also I don't know, it takes away part of the enjoyment for me if there isn't like an interesting achievement to go for.
Yeah, it's almost like it's part of the development that they're forgetting about. They don't realize like people are out there that hunt for these things. The harder it is, the funner time they're having. The gameplay is just over and above that. They're going to be playing the game anyway. But if they can have just a mini little challenge built in that actually challenges themselves and gives you another side to the game you didn't have, I think a lot of game developers really need to focus on that. 'Cause some trophies, again, it's just copy and paste, like stuff that you're gonna have to do to beat the game. It's just handed to you.
Yeah. And there's, I don't know, I've always liked achievements that are not necessarily like you have to be the best of the best for them, but ones where you got to go out of your way for a little bit, or you have to do something that does take skill that proves you've learned from, however many hours of experience you have in the game that you are up to meet this challenge.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to wrap up with one final question. Would you guys recommend other people go for all achievements, or why not? And kind of, is there a type of player that might enjoy this versus one that might really hate it?
It's just such an easy recommendation because, like I said before, you barely have to play differently to get the achievements, especially if you're, if you really want to explore and stuff, and you're going to find most of those items anyway. It's pretty easy to recommend compared to other games we've talked about on earlier episodes. And like, what kind of player would enjoy it? Somebody who doesn't want to put too much effort into getting all achievements.
That's fair. How about you, Brett? Would you recommend others do this?
Yes. Yeah. I wrote that like 3 times, big time. Again, just I know it's a bit more accessible and there's a larger game for them, and I think some of that accessibility carried over to the achievements again. But I still really think that everyone should go for it. Like John said, it's an easy recommendation. You're not going to be, biting your nails doing it kind of thing. It's not very stressful. It's can be done, and technically, if you do the cloud save kind of thing, you can do it in one playthrough. So it's not far out there. But again, it's like for explorationists, kind of like what John said as well. There are people who are just like to find every little item, every nook and cranny. They're just going to find that the achievements are just coming to them naturally.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you look at the list and you go, oh, shoot, I got 3 more to get, and 2 of them are ending related.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, and I'm very similar in the sense that, again, looking at just the achievements is significantly easier than previous games, but at the same time, I'm going, if you can't handle, well, I mean, this is true for any Dark Souls game, if you can't handle bashing your head against a wall repeatedly to try to get there, you are going to absolutely die when it comes to Millennia and when it comes to Elden Beast, because it's a double boss fight. Nobody likes a double boss fight with no break in between. It is absolute garbage. FromSoft, why?
Yeah,
it is rough. Yep.
That is a very questionable decision.
So I think
for the ending too, it makes you seem like, okay, you didn't do this relatively anywhere else in like series or throughout this game anyway, but then you choose to do it right at the end. Is it just for a steep difficulty hike, or is it like, again, maybe a cop out to make it a bit harder?
Yeah, it's weird because the game is like so much more accessible, and then it's just got like the hardest double whammy final boss fight of any of their games before.
Yeah. Oh, it's
very strange.
I hate it. So yeah, I think most people, I would say, go for it. But if you're someone who hasn't enjoyed a Souls game before now, I don't think this is going to change your mind on them.
No, not really.
Especially if you have to do, like, you only have to do Millennia once. That's a one-time thing. But in theory, you have to do Radagon and then Elden Beast, 3 times, even if you do cloud save. Because I don't know if you can actually save the game, like, quote, save the game after you beat them, but before you selected an ending. So I don't know. You
can, yep.
Okay, so you can get
on
2
PS4
endings there.
Anyway.
So you can get 2 endings there, but you would still have to go back in your third one to undo. No, you can only do Yeah, you could do 2 endings, but then you have to go and get the Frenzied Flame, because if you have it, you're not locked into that one, but it takes away one of the other ones. I remember that.
Yeah.
But you're still fighting them at least twice. Like, it is just genuinely awful. And yeah, I would say again, if you're not into Souls games, this isn't going to change your mind on them. Don't worry about it. If you are into Souls games and you can handle that, go for it.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you everyone for watching and or listening. Do remember this is on YouTube at the Taylor's Table YouTube channel. Sorry, T's Table YouTube channel. It's also on most of the major podcast platforms. You can follow me at TTable22YT on Twitter. John and Brett, thank you guys so much for joining me on what turned out to be the longest episode I've ever recorded. This is insane.
Wow.
Hey, no sweat. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
It was an honor to have you guys, both of you. Thank you again so much for being here. Thank you once again to everyone watching and or listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.